fans, welcome to this week's Good Work Show. We have a good one for you because we've got two organizations that are unique to Atlanta. One is only in Atlanta, so it's the Atlanta Hawks are going to come on the show. Yeah, it is. It's unique to Atlanta.
That's true.
Atlanta Hawks are going to come on, and then we have State Farm. So if you have been around 285 or up north anywhere recently, then you know State Farm moved this big building up there, and so now they are in our community in full force. They are doing some great things, and the two of them are doing big things together, which is why we have them both on the show today. Yeah. So you're probably wondering why we have an insurance company on the show, but not to talk about insurance. Although I guess we could. I mean, it might be some good
insurance providers.
Nonprofits need insurance too.
So did individuals, and
yes,
I'm a proud State Farm member.
I used to be on State Farm, but not anymore.
Let me tell you, growing up in Florida with the whole hurricane situation, insurance is not easy to come by. So if you were able to get State Farm insurance, that was like a really big deal.
Yeah.
Anyway, sidebar.
But we won't be talking about personal insurance claims or anything else on the show. Well, at least we don't.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't
have one.
Well, I do have an open claim. It's not with State Farm though.
Oh.
But anyway, we are going to be talking about the good work that both of these organizations are doing. And you've probably seen some of the Hawks things over the years, because a lot of the basketball teams, and this is one thing I appreciate about the NBA, because I am a huge NBA fan.
NBA cares.
Yes, NBA cares. I feel like they are very visible, and a lot of the teams do a lot of work. And of course, I think all the professional teams probably do. I don't watch baseball, so I don't know if they do it. But I know NFL does it during the commercial breaks. They'll show kind of what the players are doing, what the teams are doing in the community. But the NBA, I think, has some really unique ways of doing it. And it'd be interesting to see what the Hawks are doing. Because if you saw during some of the games or on the telecast what they've been doing, but then you might not know some of the less visible things that they've been doing in the community, which I hope we can shed some light on too.
Yeah, so there's probably some stuff that's like really big and splashy that we see, but to your point, there's probably a lot of quiet things that are happening around town, and that we'll be able to ask them about. I always feel like I feel bad sometimes for football players, because like they might be doing good stuff, but because they wear helmets, nobody knows who they are. It's like this really big guy showed
some
up.
of them. I mean,
but like this really big guy showed up today, and he looked like he could be don't know. But basketball players, you see their faces, you know who they are, and most of them, I don't know.
I mean, that's kind of, they chose that though.
That's true.
They did. I mean, and if you make a name for yourself, then you are very visible. Like everybody knows what Peyton Manning looks like. Everybody knows what Joe Montana looks like. Everybody knows what, Odell Beckham Jr. looks like. You have to have a look. Like if you have that blonde thing going and you do that, you got to have a look.
That's true.
Like so you can't just be a regular old
like
Joe.
A guy.
Yeah,
you got to do something.
You have to have a look. So, I think
speaking of, nobody has better looks than NBA players.
No. Oh, well, yes,
Cam Newton.
Cam Newton, he has a look.
Cam Newton has a look.
And so you know what Cam Newton looks like, even if you don't know his face, you know what his clothes look like.
Right.
Very interesting apparel.
But basketball players have done, I think the NBA more so. And it was funny. I was talking to a friend who works for the Hawks, and we were just talking about how as marketing professionals, it's interesting sometimes, but the brand that the NBA has been able to create for themselves as an association for the product that they produce and for the personalities is just really interesting, even more so than most other sports, putting their players out there. But for all the other fun, I feel like the fun stuff, whether it's the fashion, LeBron, the meme with LeBron in his shorts, picking up his purse and walking out, like, well, there's that.
There's a lot. There's
Taco Tuesday. All of the stuff that just makes it a fun year-round brand.
Well, because they play year-round.
Well, there's that. But I mean, it really is a year-round sport where you feel like you're connecting with the players all year, and then they are out there in the community doing really great stuff. So it's going to be really interesting to see what and how State Farm is doing that. And one of the things that I think is really encouraging about State Farm is it's one of these companies that have recently moved into the metro area with their headquarters, similar to Mercedes-Benz, that have recently moved into the area. And they have immediately come in and said, we're not just going to be here, but we want to contribute. And I think that's a great testament to the organizations that are coming here into our community. They're like, we're going to come in. We may mess up traffic for a little bit in the in the area, but we're also going to do some really great stuff and contribute to our new home. And we've seen how other organizations have done that. So it's really going to be interesting to see not just even the work that State Farm is doing with the Atlanta Hawks, but maybe talk to them about some of the other stuff that they're doing here in our community and the resources that they're bringing to town. So I'm excited.
Yeah, it should be good. So we are going to look forward to that. And then I'm looking forward to the NBA season to start, because it's kind of, I mean, it is, they do play. And I don't watch the D League and the internationals. I did see that, the once was the dream team is not, they're dreaming now, because apparently they've lost a few games.
They have. I was actually,
so I saw that and
I
I'm
was
like,
confused.
That's not
dreamy.
It's not dreamy, but it depends on who's playing on that team. Now I know when I don't want to make out, you know where I'm going with this, but
I know
just
who's not playing on the team.
If you could just make a connection between 1 + 1 = win, then
Though I will say this, because they should still win. However, because the NBA again has done such a good job about becoming a global sport. So like I was watching, I wasn't watching it. I saw it on Instagram. But the team was playing Greece, and Giannis, of course, was playing for his home.
Oh yeah, they always do play their home.
But when you think about the international talent that now plays in the NBA, so it's not such a stacked deck like it used to be. Like it used to be. There's a lot of really good talent on some of these other.
Most of the people who were at I think it was. Most of the people who were at this year's All-Star game were from a different country.
Right.
So that just shows you that there's all that. And plus, they also play those games overseas. So they always have at least one overseas game for every team. And so anyway, I think that they're very intentional. A lot of stuff that they do really well in the NBA that I wish some of the other sports did. But that's why I'm real partial to the NBA. Part of the reason why. Plus, I think they do a better job of allowing their players to have their own voice outside of the NBA versus trying to shut them down and letting them do their own thing, especially when it comes to social issues and social justice and stuff. So a whole nother sidebar, but I just think the NBA does a really good job of allowing them to be more than an athlete.
Well, until the Falcons decide to join us on the show, I guess we could just say
we should have the Falcons. But I'm sure the Falcons are doing, I think, probably just as great things too. And not to knock the NFL, but
we're just going to be partial to the NBA until any of the other.
And I'm a basketball fan.
You are, but this will be the third or fourth time we've had the Hawks on for some initiative. So they're always. So we're just going to be partial to them until
Falcons,
or United
or Dream,
Braves, whatever. Come on out. Until then, we're going to ride hard for the Hawks.
Exactly. Somebody has to.
That's not. See, we almost made it. We almost made it.
I'm just kidding. They have a lot of fans.
We do. So. I'm not messing up my ticket, so I'm just saying.
See, I wasn't even in it I'm in it for the team, but no, that it'll be good to have them both on.
Yeah,
we do have so the Duluth store. We should talk about that.
I was about to segue.
Oh, okay. So Duluth, October 3rd, Thursday at 9 a.m. That is the grand opening for that store, and it looks great.
It really does. I was out there recently. It's coming along.
Okay,
looks really good. Should be look like most of our new stores that we've been doing recently. So
yes,
should be in for a treat, and you cannot miss it. I mean, it's like this
right
big
Peachtree Industrial
lit up blue beacon.
What's the address again?
I don't know.
You had it last time.
I don't remember.
Yeah, Peachtree Industrial though in Duluth.
You can't literally you can't miss it.
Yeah, so it'll we'll be posting pictures and everything on our social media. So you're definitely going to want to come out, but lots of great things in store. It has the new fresh branded look like Trinice mentioned.
Oh, got it.
It has the wood floors. The atmosphere is great.
And it's 3064 Peachtree Industrial in Duluth. So right there on the corner.
Come visit us.
Yeah.
Spend money.
Come get the
prize pack.
The prize pack. It's still there. Yeah. We dusted it the last time. We had a grand opening, so it's not dusty. We'll have to think about what we can.
Maybe we could get some Hawk stuff in it.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe we add some Hawk stuff to.
We can
the
probably
prize.
get at least a Hawks T-shirt, maybe a jersey.
We'll work on it.
It should be a jersey, I think.
Well, we'll see what we can do.
A Dominique Wilkins jersey, one for me and one for the prize.
You keep upping the ante on this, and I'm like, okay. But
I said maybe a jersey,
maybe,
but
maybe a keychain. I don't know, but we'll get something that we can. We'll just keep adding to. That's what we should do, though. We should find something from our guests and just keep. By the time somebody claims this thing, it's going to be a prize suitcase, though. Somebody's got to come get this thing.
That's true. Well, I mean, you should get one of those suitcases that we found at Goodwill and put it in there, kind of decorate it, and then we can wheel it around.
Because that's not weird at all.
Put the Good Work Show on it. And then it could be somebody's real suitcase, and they can have the Good Work Show. They can advertise for
the show.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
I'm telling you, it is. It is a good idea. Somebody wants that suitcase to wheel around with the Good Work Show. Then we have some fans. Some of our fans are real loyal. There's a couple of them that they listen to every episode. They should have the Good Work Show suitcase. We should make one up.
We should. On that note.
Well, we're going to come back. We're going to talk to the Atlanta Hawks and State Farm for the rest of this show. So stay tuned. Stick with us. You are listening to the Good Work Show.
To learn more about the show and how your company can tell their story, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter @GoodWorkShow.
Audience, welcome back to the Good Work Show. We are excited because we're sitting here with Amy Fong, and she is the Vice President of Government Relations for the Atlanta Hawks. Yay! Welcome to the show.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so before you got here, we were talking about uniqueness about the NBA in general, and how we thought, not to disparage any of the other professional sports, but that they really had things that showed up in the community a lot, and the fact that they have a government relations person on staff. Most people probably don't think of a sports team needing that role, but tell us. So I think it'd be just great to back all the way up and tell people about what you do for the Hawks. What is it? What is your job?
Sure. It's the first that the Atlanta Hawks has had, and it's part of it is an expansion of our external affairs, making sure that we're out in the community, as well as engaging with our public officials. Oftentimes, our sports industry is growing and thriving as a result of what policymakers do each and every day, and we can't do it alone. And so we're glad that they're a friendly face on the other side and support the economic development that the Atlanta Hawks and all of our hometown sports teams bring to the table.
That's pretty cool.
Great.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. I'm envisioning, I don't know if this is what you always planned when you were a little girl and you were sitting at home in bed, I want to be government affairs for an NBA team.
Actually, it's...
Were you?
No,
you really?
I did not. But
that would be really specific.
I actually did play basketball as a short forward in middle school, and in high school played for 2 years JV for the Meadow Creek Mustangs, which we actually
shout out to the
in Gwinnett County, and we actually dedicated a brand new basketball court with State Farm in our second Good Neighbor Club there in Gwinnett County with Lucky Shoals, which happens to represent the Meadow Creek Mustang cluster.
Nice.
And so it's a nice homecoming. But no, I did not grow up wanting to be a government affairs liaison. More so wanted to be a public servant. So I spent almost 8 years in serving the citizens of Atlanta in the city of Atlanta, and got recruited over to kind of help the Atlanta Hawks further those connections as well as do good work in the community.
That's great.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So tell us about some of the work that you've been doing since you've been at the Hawks. Give us a sense of, what you would do kind of day to day.
So I spend a lot of time in conversations with our partners, also with external and internal folks, just understanding our business and how we can introduce the entire community across Metro Atlanta to the Atlanta Hawks team, and staying true to Atlanta and making sure that our partners with State Farm are also a part of that. So with just over a year of the new naming partnership with State Farm Arena, we wanted to make sure that they are out there with us side by side, lockstep in giving back to the community. And we're excited all the kind of things that we have new that you'll hear more about.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So talk to us a little bit about and I'm just going to put you on the spot, so sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So how long have you been in this role now?
Just over 6 months. So
okay.
Brand new
I was
position.
going to say, tell us some of your great successes, but that's where I was going with it. So, like, in that 6 months, like, what has been? So, I guess I can.
She probably is a rock star. She's probably got like a bunch of
stuff.
stuff that she's done in the past 6 months.
We've launched the Good Neighbor Club,
Okay.
which was our community platform with State Farm. Kind of thinking through how do we want to kind of expand upon our community courts initiative.
Mm-hmm.
So we were out there over the last 5 years putting community courts all across Metro Atlanta, but we wanted to do more than that. And so we brainstormed with our partners at State Farm to do just that. And so it was getting the buy-in from our public officials, and the excitement of the community was roaring very strongly. In just a few weeks, we'll have our largest civic initiative with State Farm at State Farm Arena. And we'll be hosting lots of influencers, public officials, executives to join us in that as well.
Cool.
Nice.
What was the most? I'm sorry, Elaine. I had
that's
another
okay.
question.
Go ahead.
Okay. What has been the most surprising thing to you? Like, what was the most shocking thing, or what? Imagine coming out of the city of Atlanta, and then public service, and it's great, and it's the public sector, and then you step into the NBA. Like, what has been the most culture shock change, but it maybe unexpected, pleasant surprise about coming, changing roles?
Changing roles was, going from public to the private sector was the difference there. But the pleasant surprise was that the Atlanta Hawks has always been a great community partner. And when I was at the city of Atlanta, they were one of our best community partners. Stayed true to its word, is now coming back while with me in this role to live up to the promises that we've made and to continue to double down on our investment. So not only are we giving physical improvements, we're also going to give programmatic support, mentorship, and game watching parties, and just kind of all sorts of good fun in the community. And so, that was probably the pleasant surprise, is that it's just not about basketball. It is in the sense of, that's what we produce 41 home games, 82 games throughout the season, but we also have just this kind of heart and soul that we're really wanting to make sure that we get out there.
Cool.
And so your role is kind of one of a kind. Well, maybe not one, but very few of the teams have your role in the NBA. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've talked to a couple of teams who are looking at this space and looking to expand their external affairs. And that's why I think the Atlanta Hawks is a very unique and special place to work. We're constantly ahead of the NBA. We were number one in guest experience. We're constantly innovating within ourselves. And part of bringing me on board was to go, hey, it's not just about getting folks to the arena. How do we get our experiences out and make our community courts and our good neighbor clubs the town halls of the heart and soul of the community. And making sure that we get their input and inviting them to join with us and tell us what they need so that we can help them. And other teams, I think, are continuing to look at what we do. Mm-hmm. We were talking earlier that we have a chief diversity officer. We hire the very first in the league. And I think you'll see the Atlanta Hawks continue to do that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So what are you going to be working on next? You got 6 months in, so now you passed that. Now you passed that. What is it? The probational period. So now you're official, right? No. But what's up next for you? We know the Hawks. We've had them on before, and they're building that new practice arena over on the the West Side, right? Is
So
that
the D League?
the D League? Yeah,
The
yeah.
G League.
G League.
Stands for
Yeah,
Gatorade.
Yes,
Sorry.
yes.
It changed, yeah.
Yes.
No, yeah. There's a lot of name changing in the NBA. I will say.
Yeah, we're rolling out the College Park Skyhawks,
Yeah.
and so we're partnership with City of College Park. We're actually having a big day tomorrow, September 13th, where we're having College Park Skyhawk Day. City of College Park is giving us a proclamation, and we're going to go out into the businesses and communities surrounding that new arena and invite them to join us on the first game on us.
Okay.
Nice.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah.
So when is that?
Yeah. Sign up to go.
The first game will be in late October.
Okay.
And so we're just excited that will be a very family fun experience. Also, we have lots of stuff that we're doing in Brookhaven. We'll have our third Good Neighbor Club there, and we've been partnered with the city of Brookhaven to have a state of the art practice facility.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as we look to investing in other in communities with our practice facility, with our new G League team, we also have the 2K League that's just finished its first season. I think that's kind of the wave of how we can engage young folks in basketball is actually through the 2K league system. And esports and gaming is quite the kind of industry. And we're watching for innovators, young folks who are out there who want to help expand upon technology, connect them to our programs. Mm. And so it's just not about the physical basketball game, but also about all the kind of different activities that make the sports industry thrive. You need accountants, you need marketers, you need folks like myself.
Wait, you need marketers?
Yeah.
They got enough.
And it's all in the variety of skills. So like you can come out of high school, play for our minor league team. You can come and play, be a grown up Hawks player, and join with Trey Young. But you could also be behind the scenes and coaching our 2K team, and that's what we want young folks to be excited about.
Yeah, very cool.
There's so many entry points, and I think that's really interesting and cool for folks. Like you said, maybe your whole family can't get to a Hawks game, but you can get, what is it,
the
Skyhawks.
Skyhawks.
Okay.
College Park Skyhawks.
Okay. So maybe you can get to that game. Or, I really just want it. So I've heard that in the practice facility, all the furniture is like supersized for the players. I really just want to go sit in one of the chairs. Like, that's just really what I want to do, like sit in one of the chairs and feel like Alice in Wonderland with your feet.
Well, actually, that's why we built it state of the art, because we wanted players, especially during the off season, to come have a home and invest in the city of Brookhaven, Metro Atlanta, and be around, and so that folks see them at the store acting like a normal person, because they are, we're all people,
Right.
And so to give that experience to the communities where we've made these major investments is huge, and then to educate young folks where we have a Good Neighbor Club, where we have a community court. That is the business of basketball is extremely exciting. And then to thank our public officials and say, hey, you helped us build this brand new facility, taking the risk, letting us break the ground in their communities, and then to give back and say thank you and have, a game or two on us as we open the new College Park Skyhawks is very exciting.
Cool. Well, we're going to take a break, Amy, and then we want to invite your friend Miles from State Farm to come. Not Jake from State Farm, but Miles from State Farm to come and talk about what the two of you have been doing together. So the Hawks and State Farm have been doing some unique things. Of course, you alluded to some of the work, but we're going to dig in a little deeper and talk to you both. So we're going to take a break and get Miles in here on set so that he can join us and we can have that conversation. So stick with us, audience. We'll be right back. You're listening to The Good Work Show, and we're going to have, like I said, the Atlanta Hawks and State Farm together in just a sec.
To learn more about the show and how your company can tell their story, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter @GoodWorkShow.
Audience, welcome back to The Good Work Show. All right, so if you were with us before the break, we were talking to Amy Fong, who is the Vice President of Government Relations for the Atlanta Hawks, and we were talking about some of the work that she's been doing with State Farm. And we have Miles from State Farm. He is Miles Mitchum. He is the Community and Media Relations Specialist for State Farm, joining us with us. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, so let's jump right in, because the two of you partnered up. How long ago?
Over a year ago.
Over a year ago.
We signed a deal. We renamed our arena downtown to State Farm Arena.
Yeah.
That's kind of, what started the relationship. But what's furthered the relationship is all the community initiatives that we have going on.
Yeah. So talk to us about that. So Miles or Amy, whoever wants to jump in, well, Amy, you mentioned the basketball courts and the Good Neighbor courts, and kind of, I don't know if it's, more appropriate to start there, or if you want to start with the naming, or wherever you guys want to start with the story about how the two of you kind of came together.
Well, I can't speak much to how we came together.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's at a little bit higher above my pay grade. But
No, Miles, wait there, no, just kidding.
no, but
They don't give those red jackets to everybody.
I know, right?
No, but since we've joined forces and collaborated with the Hawks on the naming rights of the arena, it has been a phenomenal opportunity for us to work with such a pillar in the community. Obviously, at the time they were celebrating their 50th year in Atlanta, and perfect timing because again they've set the stage. They built a nice foundation of being in the community, and in large part that's what we are. We're all about the community. We're all about being, as you all know, the good neighbor. And so in doing so, we jumped right in. And, October, after our announcement, we had an open house where we invited the entire city out to come out and experience the new arena and see all the tricks
really
that,
nice.
yes,
Mhm.
really
Beautiful.
nice.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
And then we moved on. I think in December we had an event where we brought kids in from some organizations that both the Atlanta Hawks and State Farm partnered with to experience Christmas in so many words with the players and some of our staff, both the Hawks and the State Farm staff, to just enjoy, the season and, do something that they would look back upon years from now and say, wow, I was there on this, on the floor with, all the players and they spent time with me. And so we did that. And then come, I want to say January, we
We did our 50th court celebration at ML King Natatorium. And we joined together to do a Good Neighbor Pantry for a lot of the local community members, but specifically senior citizens who live right across the street from that facility to come and do some grocery shopping with us.
Oh, cool. Cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, Amy, when we were speaking before, you mentioned the Good Neighbor Clubs, and I need more information, but I figured I'd wait till Miles joined us as well for you guys to explain exactly what is the Good Neighbors Club. Tell our audience what that means and what happens there.
Well, we kind of modeled off of State Farm, being a good neighbor, creating the Good Neighbor Club, and renovating transforming a room within these community centers that were adjacent across one of our community courts. We did one recently at William Walker in the city of Atlanta, just this past Tuesday at Lucky Shoals in Gwinnett County. We have another one coming up with the city of Brookhaven over at Linwood Park, which is a historic community. And then we'll do one later this year in December and joining forces and also doing another kind of Christmas season of giving kind of theme for that Good Neighbor Club. So basically we want members of the community to come by, be a Good Neighbor Club member, and participate in programming, whether it's mentoring a young person or being mentored, volunteering and giving back in the surrounding neighborhood, or just enjoying some good old-fashioned fun. So we're going to be hosting some game watching parties where, again, if folks can't make it to the State Farm Arena and join us for a game, we're going to bring a game experience to them.
So who operates the programming? Is it a combination between the two of your companies, or do you invite or have, those cities or other nonprofits to kind of do like the mentorship matching or doing all of that work? Are you standing up the building and then allowing other partners in, or are you doing whole thing soup to nuts?
So I would say it's a community effort. Obviously, it's going to start with us and the Hawks, State Farm and the Hawks, as well as the local municipalities, their Parks and Recreation Service, working with their staff to identify areas that the kids that come in and the families that come in, what's of interest to them, and build around that. Because ultimately what we want to have these centers serve as is an opportunity for the kids to come in outside of school and have fun, but also to learn, also to be inspired, to dream, to do things that they wouldn't ordinarily do if they went straight from home to or from school to home and vice versa. So we're going to build that out, and obviously, as Amy mentioned, it's gonna it's gonna be well rounded with experiences with players coming in, with some of our State Farm agents, some of our employees coming in, just offering opportunities to again have dialogue and learn from each other and do it in a fashion that's fun. So that's and ultimately what we're trying to accomplish with the neighbor clubs.
That's cool. So you guys are also renovating court. So now the court renovations is that a part of the Good Neighbors Club, or are those separate, or both, or
So-
neither?
The Hawks, the Atlanta Hawks has had a community court program for the last 4 years. We had a commitment to do 25 community courts across Metro Atlanta, and with just this past week with Lucky Shoals, we've actually completed that goal.
Great.
In lockstep now
Congratulations.
with
I mean,
State Farm.
this is why I said we need an applause button, but nobody
Yeah,
will get me one. But
And
it's
this
fine.
is the first time where we've done it now with State Farm as our partner, and then not only stopping at the court, because that's what we were only doing in the past. We're now adding these Good Neighbor Clubs, these transformation of these rooms, plus the programming as we move forward.
Well, that's great. And that kind of shows how with partnerships you can what you're able to do, how you can amplify what you're doing. So now it's the courts plus, and that's power partnership.
Yeah. So cool. So what's next for the two of you? You got the court done. You've got the Good Neighbor Clubs going. Anything else that that you think is unique synergy between the two organizations that you can? I mean, I'm sure there's lots of stuff, but State Farm's got lots of employees here now. So big building, big visibility. Of course, the Hawks are expanding with the Skyhawks and the new practice facility in Brookhaven and a bunch of other things going on. So I don't know. I mean, ideas about, who might want to partner with you, or ideas. Can you give us some sneak peek, into what you're going to be doing next?
Well, what we're here to talk about in large part is an event that we're having on October 5th,
Okay.
Saturday, October 5th at State Farm Arena. And it's called the Million Meal Pack. And we announced it to the public a few weeks back. And we had a goal of about 5,000 volunteers to come in and help us pack meals to go to 1 million recipients all here in the Atlanta area. And to our surprise, Atlanta stepped up and stepped out.
Wow.
We, within a day and a half, we reached the 5,000 point.
Wow, that's fantastic.
And within a week, we were well over the 5,000 points. So right now, we unfortunately, we have wait lists. So if folks want to go in and volunteer, they can still go in and fill in their information, but they'll be wait listed depending on someone else not being able to make it. But that's in large part what we're here to talk about is just that initiative.
Yeah,
that
I
we
mean,
have.
it's the first ever for the team's history to have more than 5,000 volunteers come out in a single event. And we're extremely excited. We'll have, again, lots of different influencers, players, State Farm employees and agents, and just celebrate with the community of giving back and packing these 1 million meals. We're also helping to kick off a very exciting week, which is Hands-On Atlanta Week. And so folks will be giving back all across the Metro Atlanta area on that day. But we're glad that we're leading the largest effort of that day in the Hands-On Atlanta Week together with State Farm.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And where are the mills going?
So they're going to go to a variety of organizations here in the Metro Atlanta area, thanks to our partner.
Yep, like Atlanta Food Bank,
Right.
a community food bank. We have City of Refuge, several other kind of local nonprofits that will be receiving the meals, and then we'll get it to families who need it the most.
And they're they're nourishing meals. They're
Yeah.
not just, a couple of crackers and this, that, the other. It's going to be something that really they can, get nourishment from and hopefully get a leg up and go forward.
Yeah, we want
Million
to make
meals.
sure that folks are, getting access to food, and health and wellness for us at the Atlanta Hawks is very important. We want to make sure that their bodies are connected to feel, so that their minds can stay focused to learn.
It's great.
Mm-hmm.
So where can people go to sign? I know that there's a wait list. So
Mm-hmm.
where can people go to find out information about that? Or if they wanted to volunteer in some of the other efforts that y'all are doing, where can they go to find out more information?
So they can go to hawks.com/mealpack, and they can get all the information about our event on October 5th. And if you wanted to do some volunteering in addition to that, State Farm has built a great platform called Neighborhood of Good, where you can go in and plug in your zip code and be able to find areas and opportunities to volunteer.
Great. All right. Well, congratulations on getting, more than 5,000 people in a day and a half. I don't know that that many organizations can
No.
mobilize that many people to volunteer to do something in that short of a time. So, just speaks to the work that you're doing and the fact that people believe and want to get involved. So, congratulations. We'll be looking to see how all of that happens and pictures of the million meals. I'm sure there's going to be
Feel
some
free to join us.
social
Yeah.
media going on.
We were supposed
some
to
live
go.
tweeting. Yeah, I think we
Come
were
on
supposed
out.
to.
Come
go.
I
on.
think we're going.
We're going. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, we'll be
Yes,
there.
yes.
The Good Work Show will be packing meals.
We had to call in a favor to be able to volunteer.
That's right. We did
Like,
have to call in a
seriously,
because I think you guys were booked,
We
and so
were.
we had to
call
we had to get our way in.
the bat phone. I said, there was the time I used to do that to get in the club. Now I'm like, I need to volunteer. So,
That's right.
So,
No,
yeah.
it's not mandatory. We're not working off in a community service. Let's just
No.
put that out there. We're doing this on our own time. But thank you so much. We're gonna stick with you, Miles, because I think
Sure.
Neighborhood of Good. We should maybe talk about that a little bit more. So can you stick with us?
Sure.
And we just appreciate your time. Thank you so much to both what the Hawks and State Farm are doing. You're listening to The Good Work Show.
To learn more about the show and how your company can tell their story, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter @GoodWorkShow.
All right, audience, we are back on the Good Work Show, and we've been doing it's an all Hawks and State Farm show.
Yes.
Like
it's like
from
a
the
round
beginning to the
robin.
end.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yes, it has been good to talk to Amy Fong, who was with us for the first couple of segments, and she's the Vice President of Government Relations from the Hawks. And then you were joined by her when we did our second segment, Miles. And Miles Mitchum is, by the way, he's the Community and Media Relations Specialist for State Farm. Of course, you probably all from Atlanta, if you've been watching the news or heard anything in the last few years, State Farm was building this big headquarters building in our community. And not only did they come to the community, but they've been giving back and being in the community. And so that's what we've been talking with Miles about, and how State Farms and the Hawks kind of came together. But State Farm has been doing a lot of things just beyond that. So we talked about the million meal pack thing that's coming up, and which is going to be a great combination between what you're doing, what the Hawks are doing, other organizations, and 5,000 volunteers are going to be doing on that one day. But State Farm in general, and we started this whole show talking about, we're going to bring an insurance company on. We're not going to be talking about insurance, so because that's not what you do anyway. And I think we'd lose some audience members about really. You'd lose me because I don't want to. I don't want to talk insurance. But State Farm as a brand has been doing a lot. And you mentioned the Neighborhood of Good sort of volunteer opportunity portal, I guess is another name for it. Talk to us a little bit about that, because I'm a little familiar with it, but I've forgotten about it until you mentioned it last segment. So tell our audience what it's, kind of dive in a little bit more, but why the organization decided to put something together like that. It's an insurance company. I mean, why would you, there could be 100 other nonprofits who could do the same thing. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Well, I would start by saying that our slogan says it all, in the sense that we are a good neighbor, and we've prided ourselves on doing that for the past 97 years as a company. And in large part, the reason why we started the Neighborhood of Good portal, which was started about 2 years ago, was, again, just to create community, to be able to, we found through research that there's a lot of folks that are out there that want to give back and want to do good in the community, but they don't know what the first step should be. And so we thought, why not create a portal where essentially anyone and anywhere can go out to State Farm neighborhood or neighborhoodofgood.com, type in their zip code, and be able to see what volunteer opportunities there are, what gaps there are in their community from organizations such as Goodwill or whoever the case may be, for them to, populate this portal with opportunities to, again, address the needs in our community. And so that's, we've been really excited about it. It's took off in grand fashion. And we're just really excited about the partnership with the Atlanta Hawks and everyone else. But this is centric to what we do. We want to make sure that we strengthen relationships, or strengthen communities, and so this is a step towards that.
Yeah. And there's no fee or anything. It's just like, so if Goodwill, if we had volunteer opportunities, we can post them there.
Yes. We welcome and hope that everyone would. It's an opportunity again to showcase yourself in terms of an organization, a nonprofit organization that has needs in your community, to showcase what you represent, how you serve the community, and again get helping hands around what you do.
That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that we were talking about earlier when we were kind of introing the show is just the importance of a corporation to be a good community partner. And I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about that. Just, an organization could show up in a community in a couple different ways, right? So you could show up as like the Bigfoot meanie and just plop down and ruin everything and be awful. I mean, that's an approach.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you can do it the way that you guys have. And I just, and I live not too far from where the new headquarters is. So I could potentially have been one of those people like, you've ruined everything, but I don't. So why do you think it's important that when State Farm made the decision to put their headquarters here, bring in all these people to say, we're not just going to be here in this way, but we're going to show up in a different way as well, and kind of forge some of these partnerships? And we've talked about the one with the Hawks, but are there other ways that you guys are plugging into the community to kind of show up for the folks here in our area?
Yes. So we, as you had mentioned, we are actually one of 3 cities. So we have our corporate headquarters, which is in Bloomington, Illinois. Then we have 3 hub cities: Atlanta, Phoenix, and Dallas.
I bet
Atlanta,
in December you're really happy to be in Atlanta because I.
Oh yes. I spent a couple of, one winter in Bloomington. It's a little different.
Yeah,
it's a little different.
Yeah.
I'll just
Bloomington
say that.
Is
I'll say
special
that.
in the winter.
Shout out to Bloomington. Yes. But as we bring people to Atlanta for career opportunities, we want to make sure that they have a holistic approach to their life. Not just going and spending 7 hours and 45 minutes behind a desk, working with our customers, but beyond that, being able to go into their communities and give back, because again, that's the fabric of what we've built over the past 97 years. And so in that, we have a lot of different things that are going on internally as it relates to engaging our employees. We recently put out a commercial that it should start getting a little more rotation in the next little bit. But what it is, it highlights an initiative that we have internally called 100 for Good. We're approaching our 100th anniversary of being a company, and so with the people that we have in the house, we find that there's so many people doing so many different things outside of work, and so this commercial was a homage to those employees. And so what you see is a rapid fire of different good acts that are being done. But the interesting thing about that is all of the acts are actually done by people that have, submitted, okay, this is what I've done. This is what I've done. It's not something that was developed in a vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
And so State Farm, we pride ourselves on, again, just empowering our employees to do great things. We have programs inside where if you're an employee that volunteers with a Goodwill or any other nonprofit organization, upwards of 40 hours during a calendar year, they can, a couple little clicks, send off something, and in so many words, that organization will receive a check.
Nice.
Wow.
For $500. And so little things like that is what, again, what we're all about. Because, again, at the end of the day, we are a community-centric organization that has 19,000 agents across the country, 600 of them here in the Georgia area that are, everyday people. And so we want to make sure that we provide and facilitate opportunities for them to get involved in those communities and do so in a meaningful way.
Yeah. So what about your local State Farm agent? So how do they play into that? Are they, coming? Are they invited? I'm sure they're probably invited, but talk to us about the difference in between the employees that are at the headquarters here in Atlanta or the hub here in Atlanta versus, Mr. Jones, who's my local State Farm agent, and I go to his office and
Sure.
I buy insurance from him
Yes.
because I know Mr. Jones, versus
Right.
I'm buying it from the big, the big headquarters. But are they mobilized into this sort of community part too? Because they're the face of the community,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
they don't go necessarily probably to the big office to buy their insurance. They go
Right.
to the State Farm office down the street.
Exactly. They are our connector. They're our faces in the community. Case in point, as you say, how we integrate and how we work together. I'm a corporate employee, obviously, and then we have our agents. And so I have 600 bosses, 600 agents across the state of Georgia that I work to help them get involved in the community. And we work together all across the board from them being an agent, obviously servicing the customer. We service the customer internally. Case in point, we have a commercial that just came out, and you may have seen it. It's not the Cheryl She Shed, which is caught on like wildfire and gone viral. But there's a commercial that was launched here recently that actually has a local State Farm agent here in Atlanta that is in it. That's I don't know if you've seen the commercial where there's a guy that pulls up and he's like, "Come on, let's race," in so many words.
Yeah.
That agent, her name is Deidre Bembry. She's an agent down in Noonan, Georgia. And obviously, for those that watch TV, they see it and they say, okay, well, yeah, she's selling insurance. But the little thing that you know about that is Deidre has a phenomenal story, just like many of our agents. Her story is the fact that she was a mother of 4, had one child that in July of 2015 passed of pediatric pain cancer. And instead of wallowing in her pain, she pushed beyond that pain and created an opportunity or a nonprofit organization that serves people in the community, particularly those that have children that have brain cancer, and help them financially through fundraising. And so little things like that is again in the DNA of it, and that's how we work together. We work together because obviously I get to know her, she gets to know me, I get to know such stories, and that's the beauty of what we do, and the collaboration between the corporate and our State Farm agents is just getting to know each other and working together to again service the community.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great story.
I know, we need her on the show.
Yes,
So-
yeah,
Yes.
tell her to come on so we can talk about her
Yes.
nonprofit.
Yes.
We won't bother her with insurance. We'll talk to her about her nonprofit. That's great that you are able to connect with the local folks, because I think that for us in the general public, if we know our agent, that's who we know as State Farm. So good and bad, but they are the people that we rely on to tell us what to do and how to buy our insurance. So yeah,
Yes.
cool.
Well, thank you so
Yes.
much for spending so much time with us today. I think
know.
we've had a really good show. I mean, I said it earlier, but I'm a State Farm.
Well, thank you. We appreciate your business.
But you know why? Because my parents had, we had our agent in Florida.
Yeah,
And
Mr.
when I-
Jones down the street.
Right. Or
Well, I don't know
similar.
if his name's Mr.
Yeah.
Jones,
But
but
so we had her, and then when I moved here and I bought a house, it was like, well,
you get
call
the
State
insurance
Farm.
that your
Yes.
Like, I
parents
mean,
had. Yeah.
where else are you going to call? So, so thanks for that, too.
Thank you
But
all.
thank you so much for everything that you are doing in the community, and thanks to Amy for joining us
Mm-hmm.
earlier with all the stuff that the Hawks are doing. I mean, it just makes Atlanta feel, I'm glad I live here.
Well, Miles, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Audience, thank you for listening and tuning into the show today. It's been a good one. You have been listening to and watching The Good Work Show.